Hello everyone, my name is Alessandro Iandoli and this is In the Trend of VM. I am recording this episode exclusively for the Telegram channel Avlianov.com Vulnerability Management and more, and I invite you to subscribe to it. Today I will talk about the 4 trending vulnerabilities of December and finalize the statistics on trending vulnerabilities for 2024 according to Positive Technologies. So, there were 4 trending vulnerabilities in December. 2 of them were in Microsoft products. Elevation of privilege in Windows kernel streaming while Thunk service driver. The vulnerability is from the August Microsoft Patch Tuesday. It wasn't highlighted in reviews. All we knew was that a local attacker could gain system privileges. 3.5 months later, on November 27, SSD Secure Disclosure released a write-up with exploit code. This vulnerability was exploited at TyphoonPWN 2024. Earning the researcher a $70,000 prize. SSD stated in their write-up that communications with Microsoft were problematic and noted that at the time of trying this on the latest version of Windows 11, the vulnerability still worked. It's unclear if this time of trying was before the August MSPT or just before the write-up was released in November. If the second option, the vulnerability might still be a 0-day. No reports of this vulnerability being exploited in attacks yet. Elevation of privilege in Windows Common Log File System Driver. This vulnerability is from December Microsoft Patch Tuesday. It affects a standard Windows component, available in all versions starting with Windows Server 2003 R2. Its description is typical for EOP in Windows. If successfully exploited, a local attacker can gain system privileges. The cause of the vulnerability is Heap-based Buffer Overflow. Microsoft has labeled the vulnerability as being exploited in the wild, but has not provided information on where the vulnerability was being exploited or how widespread the attacks were. On January 15, a public exploit for the vulnerability appeared from Alessandro Iandoli from HN Security. The source code and video demonstrating the exploit are available on GitHub. A local attacker runs an exe file in PowerShell and, after a second, becomes NT Authority System. The researcher tested the exploit on Windows 11 23H2. He also promises to publish a blog post with a detailed analysis of the vulnerability. Remote code execution in Apache Struts. Apache Struts is an open-source software framework for building Java web applications. It allows developers to separate the application's business logic from the user interface. Due to its scalability and flexibility, Apache Struts is often used in large enterprise projects. A security bulletin describing the vulnerability was released on December 14th. A flaw in file upload logic allows an unauthenticated attacker to perform path traversal, upload a malicious file, and, under certain circumstances, perform remote code execution. On December 20, a public exploit for the vulnerability was released. There are reports of exploitation attempts, but no information on successful attacks yet. The vendor recommends upgrading to version 6.4.0 or higher and migrating applications to the new secure file upload mechanism. Authentication bypass in Hunk companion WordPress plugin. Hunk Company develops commercial themes for WordPress CMS, and the Hunk Companion plugin is designed to complement and enhance the functionality of these themes. The plugin has over 10,000 installations. On December 10, WPScan reported a vulnerability in Hunk Companion plugin versions below 1.9.0, allowing unauthenticated attackers to install and activate plugins from the WordPress org repository. The exploit has been on GitHub since December 28. This way, attackers can install plugins that contain additional vulnerabilities. In the incident analyzed by WPScan, the attackers installed the WP Query Console plugin with RCE vulnerability CVE 2024 50498 on the website and exploited it to install a backdoor. If you use WordPress, try to minimize the number of plugins and update them regularly. It's time to finalize the list of trending vulnerabilities for 2024, according to Positive Technologies. Last year, 74 vulnerabilities were classified as trending. To compare the scale, just over 40,000 were added to NVD in 2024. All trending vulnerabilities are found in Western commercial products and open source projects. This year, the vulnerabilities of domestic Russian products did not reach the level of criticality required to classify them as trending. For 55 of all trending vulnerabilities, there are currently signs of exploitation in attacks. For 17, there are public exploits, but no signs of exploitation. And for the remaining 2, there is only a possibility of future exploitation. Vulnerabilities were often added to trending ones before signs of exploitation in the wild appeared. For example, the remote code execution vulnerability in VMware vCenter CVE 2024-38812 was added to the list of trending vulnerabilities on September 20, 3 days after the vendor's security bulletin appeared. There were no signs of exploitation in the wild or public exploit for this vulnerability. Signs of exploitation appeared only 2 months later, on November 18th. Most of the vulnerabilities in the trending list are of the following types: remote code or command execution, 24, and elevation of privilege, 21. 4 vulnerabilities in Barracuda Email Security Gateway, Movi Transfer, Papercut, and Sugar CRM were added in early January 2024. These vulnerabilities were massively exploited in the West in 2023, and attacks using these vulnerabilities could also tangentially affect Russian organizations where these products had not yet been taken out of service. The rest of the vulnerabilities became trending in 2024. "34 trending vulnerabilities affect Microsoft products, 45%. 17 of them are elevation of privilege vulnerabilities in the Windows kernel and standard components. 1 remote code execution vulnerability in Windows Remote Desktop Licensing Service. 2 trending elevation of privilege vulnerabilities affect Linux systems, 1 in NF tables and the second in need restart. Other groups of vulnerabilities: phishing attacks, 19. Windows components, Outlook, Exchange, Ghostscript, Roundcube. Network security and entry points, 13. Palo Alto, Fortinet, Juniper, Ivanti, Checkpoint, Zixel. Virtual infrastructure and backup, 7. VMware, Veeam, Acronis. Software development, GitLab, TeamCity, Jenkins, PHP, FluentBit, Apache, Struts. Collaboration tools, Atlassian, Confluence, XWiki. CMS WordPress plugins, Lightspeed Cache, the Events Calendar, Hunk Companion. You can find the full list of vulnerabilities in the Vulneristics report. Also read the article on the official Positive Technologies website, Vulnerable Software and Hardware versus Security Researchers. That's all. For more details on December vulnerabilities, read our December Trending Vulnerabilities Digest and the post on Haber. Links via QR codes and in the description. Alexander Leonov was with you. Write your impressions about the episode in the comments. See you in a month. Bye, everyone.
Keeping you up at night. Need a helping hand to set things right. Scan this QR code, it's quick and easy. See, join the AVE on your content like Grand Channel family. Vulnerability management and so much more. VM news